Hello everyone. We shall move forward with our next session with the C programming, the session 12. Basically, we define here the structure definitions, declaration, and how we can able to access that structure. We also see about that structure pointer, similar to integer pointer. We can define the structure pointer also, that we can able to see over here, and we can start with that. What is the structure? Basically, array we seen that it has multiple elements, and but it should be a same data type. Here we can have it something like different members, different data types that can be used here, and it's something like a user defined data type. Something like we can say we can define our own structure, and we can define our own data type for that. Basically, for example, you define a structure with integer a and float b, then it is your own user defined one structure basically, and it can hold any number of elements basically that it should be defined previously, and it should be predefined basically, and it can hold up to, it cannot be added in runtime. It should be defined and predefined in the during the coding. And the syntax of the one here, struct is the keyword to define a structure, and we can give the struct name, and then until the different members will be available for the structure. Here data type and member 1, and data type and member 2. The member 1 can be an integer a1 and float b1, and data type long c2. That can be possible, and you can define the array also inside the structure, that we can able to see here, and we can do that something like declaration of the structure, something struct, and then structure name we have given, and then we have to use that our own variable. For example, integer a is the variable name. Similar to, we can give structure variable name accordingly. We can check how we can access the structure and the parameters similar to the variable we have. Here we can see it got locked. Maybe I have to open. Yeah, here it's in there. I'm going to do struct.c. Here inside this include stdio.h, and then integer main, integer argc, character star argv. Okay, that should be fine. This is the default one. Now I think we should do this every time, so that we will know that we will not miss integer argc and character argv or arguments to that function. That we will explore for more in detail during the further sessions, that we can explore that how we can able to pass the argument, how we can able to give that arguments accordingly. That we will explore little more further, that we shall go into that structure, not deviating. Yeah, here I'm going to define a structure here. For example, struct student. I'm going to define struct student, and I'm opening the brace and closing a brace and semicolon. That should be fine, and I'm going to define with a student, can be anything that can be done. I'm going to define a name, which is the student name, and I'm going to define that integer standard, in which standard he is studying, and integer something like section, which section he is studying, and we can do that integer marks, the marks of the student basically. That we can able to, it's something like a structure is grouping that different data types to that particular need basically. Here we have the student. If you wanted to have that student information, we can define all the student information into a structure, and we can use it, so that we no need to maintain each variables different variables separately. We are grouping, and we are using a single instance single point to access that all the variables, all the details of the that particular information basically. Here we are going to define struct and then student stud that we have given here, and we have to use something like this. I think we can do that printf similar way. Enter the name and then scanf colon %yes. We have to access that the members with the stud with dot is the one to access that member, and we can give name here. Can access similar to a local variable, and we can access printf. Enter the standard scanf %d. For %d we used to give ampersand stud and then std, the standard. And similar way we can do for multiple things over here. And here I'm going to do this, the section. Enter this section and then cc, and then we can do this for marks. We got the marks here, and maybe we can print whatever the information we have received, that it can be done here, something like %yes and then %d and %d and then %d/n, that we can able to check, verify that whatever the information we have received are perfect or not. std and stud.sec, basically that this is to give that information. We should use dot, and how to declare a structure with different data types, and how to define declare a variable of student, and how to define, how to access that the variable student structure with the stud, that with the variable that we are seeing over here, and we can access with the stud and then marks. Yeah, that's it. We have that information over here. Maybe we need to compile here struct and then struct.c. It says differently, and expected semicolon, but before, yes, maybe I think I missed. Yeah, the same thing is applied everywhere. Yeah, maybe I should do some more coding, maybe. Yeah, struct, I'm going to enter my name. I am the student, yeah, Hariharan, and I am studying maybe little more, maybe 12th standard. That should be fine. I'm studying C, and then I'm going to get all those things. Something like I should not make that what something happened in the here, and it should not be C. We cannot give for %d, that we should give some other value to get that Hariharan, and then 12, for example 0 we can give for the section A, and then maybe we can give, I'm 100 marks, 100 out of 100 I can get it. Yeah, we got that value over here. My name is Hariharan, and I am studying 12th standard with that 0 and then 100. This is basically to give and group that one particular persons or one particular grouping that information to one particular thing. Basically it's a data type, structured data type. With that you can able to make that the one persons or one teachers on one similar to that it's corresponding collecting that all the information related to one particular thing is a structure. It can be anything. For example, if you are making for a structure for employee, you will give name and then experience and then name, that salary, and then any loans, any remarks, all those things you can able to make, and it can be a structure basically into the structure in the structured employee that we can able to define it there. Over that will give that good flexibility to in the programming basically. Here then we have that option structure access. The access has to be done with that dot variable. Access operator should be in between the struct variable and member, whatever we did, stud dot name. Similar way that struct variable name is stud here, and the member name is name or std standard section or mocks that it contains basically here. And then we have that option of struct array that we can able to store that information of structure elements that maybe we can see over here. And we can define a structure array. For example, here I am going to do which we received for a single person. Now it can be extended for, I'm taking 4, maybe 2 also should be fine, getting two students of that. And maybe I'm going to do integer I, and I'm going to do for I equal to 0, and then I less than 2, and then I plus plus I have to do over here. And then I'm getting all the thing here to access. Similar way I have to do for integer I equal to 0, I less than 2, and then I plus plus going to give it here. And similar way that the usually struct member will be accessed by stud dot name. Now here we have that struct array, in that we will be using struct 0 dot name to get that first one, and 0 stud 1 dot name for second one, stud 2 dot name for third member. Here we have that dynamic one, and here I'm going to do I, so that it will be filled with 0 and 1. That will give that respective results over there. And I'm going to give, yeah, similar way to print we have to give the similar thing over here. Gone to home. Yeah, you have to do this way. Yeah, here we have to apply. If the main difference is we are accessing the first element, second element, third element. If in case of struct array, for example, we did integer mocks of 10 to access marks of 0 is the first element of marks that we did. Similar way here we have struct student array that we can able to access with the stud of 0, that will give that first structure structure, and stud of 1 will give that second structure like that in the array. And to access inside that structure that member, we have to do stud of 0 dot that particular member name over here, that we can able to see here. Maybe gcc -o struct and then struct.c. Yeah, lot of errors that I have given. Yeah, something wrong in my typing. Yeah, it should be fine now. Extract, I can able to give my name Hariharan, and then I'm studying 12th standard, and then 0 for class A, and then I am getting marks 100. You should not worry, I am getting 100. Then I am typing my son Bhumish. He is studying in 4th standard, and he is in class section A, and he has scored 98. That should be fine. and we can get the results here. And it's something like we have stored in a structure array. Basically we made that the data type of different properties members into a group called structure, and we have that information for multiple students, that it has the array basically here. And we got that information, whatever we have entered we can able to receive back with the dot operator. And to access the array, similar to the normal array, we have to use open braces and the value, remember the item number, and then we can access that particular members basically here. Then we have that option called structure pointer, similar to that integer pointer which points to the integer location. Here we have that structure pointer that can be used to access that structure basically here, that its member can be accessed by arrow, and the access should be operator should be placed in between that pointer variable and then member variable, member name basically. For example, to define a structure we have to use struct name, and we have to use that pointer variable, struct pointer variable name, and we can access that with the struct pointer variable name with the corresponding member that we will see here. Then maybe I can copy directly so that we can edit easily. Struct.c, struct ptr.c, that should be fine. Struct ptr.c. Yeah, we have to define something here, something I'm going to define here. Struct student star ptr, and then we can able to access it as usual, something like this. ptr equal to something address of stud of 0, first members location I have accessed. Basically similar way that it points to that first member of that array. It goes to stud 0, or it point to that first starting point of that array here. And we can use this with that, instead of struct name we have to use the ptr, and we have to use the access operator arrow here. And similar way here we will be using ptr and then pointer to access, and instead of stud we will be using pointer x here, and instead of this we will be using ptr here. And once we done with that, we have to increment that ptr, and we can increment here ptr. Maybe I have to give plus ptr so that it will get incremented, and similar way I have to increment it here, something like this, plus ptr, and then instead of the name I can give ptr, the access operator is arrow, and then the name, and I have to give ptr and here, and ptr should be here, ptr should be here. And we have that information pointer incremented once, and it goes to first second element, and it got incremented again, it goes to third element. Third element is not available in our structure, only two members are available. That's why we have to reinitialize to 0 so that we will get that information. Otherwise you will get the crash over there, since which is you are accessing that information which is not available. Yeah, we can see with the gcc-o struct ptr.c. I'm going to give struct ptr here. I'm going to enter my name Hariharan and 12 and 0, and then I'm getting 98, and I'm going to give my son's name, and we have he's studying 4th standard, and 0, and then he's studying getting marks 100 now this time. Yeah, the value we got it something like the similar way to the structure pointer, only structure array, but the thing is we are accessing with the structure pointer basically here, that it can be used whenever we have different location. In that we will be doing that dynamic memory allocation that can be done with that malloc, and which we seen earlier. Similar that we will allocate that memory, and then it will be access. It can, the point structure pointer can be accessed by the access member arrow, that can be done basically here. Done with that, and we have that the basically that local variable or structure pointer which we are doing, we must initialize before accessing that, otherwise it may get crash into it may fall into the crash. And if you have any clarification, you can contact me at nvhariharan@navitech.com. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more updates. Thank you. Have a nice day.